David, a major ruling out of the Supreme Court today. They have effectively outlawed consideration of race when it comes to college admissions. This reverses affirmative action. Decades of precedent. The court's 6 conservative justices voting for, with the 3 liberal justices dissenting. They found that in 2 cases for both Harvard University as well as the University of North Carolina are currently illegally using race in their admissions programs. This is going to have huge impacts for selective colleges and elite universities. Many of them have used affirmative action to make sure that their campuses have the diversity that they want to see, that they argue is good for students. And what we have seen is that for universities that have tried to go to race-neutral admissions, it's been much more difficult for them to recruit a diverse student body. You've seen numbers of Black students and Hispanic students drop. So it's a huge question now for a lot of these colleges. How do they go forward with admissions in a way that still brings forward diversity now that affirmative action is now illegal?
What it do, family? So the Supreme Court of the United States has ruled against affirmative action when it comes to college admissions. And I'm not too surprised by that. But what I did want to do is come to you guys today and to discuss 2 things. One, how we are going to start to see many people within the Democratic Party using this as basically one of the reasons why Black people need to jump back onto the Democratic plantation. But for myself, I actually see it as a major reason why the descendants of American slaves need their reparations. And anything other than reparations is a slap to the face. So I want to get into these couple of articles that I have here. Actually, I have a few articles here. They're not too long. Well, I taken the little pieces that I needed from these articles. But if you want to read these articles for yourself, you are more than welcome to go ahead and read these articles. So this article here is from the Wall Street Journal. And I kind of wanted to just get an understanding of what the reasoning was and what they said the reasoning was behind the situation. So let's get into it. The article states, eliminating racial discrimination means eliminating all of it. Justice Chief John Roberts wrote for the court, joined by Justice Clarence Thomas, Samuel Alito, Neil Gorsuch, Brett Kavanaugh, and Amy Coney Barrett. The students must be treated based on his or her experiences as an individual, not on the basis of race. Many universities for too long have done just the opposite, he wrote. Yeah, but here's the problem with that. Colleges and universities have always been race-based institutions for decades. They discriminated against Black Americans for decades, to the point where Black Americans had to go and build their own colleges. To the point where Black Americans had to go and build their own colleges. And then when they were forced to let us into their colleges and universities, I believe it was Ronald Reagan who started charging students for their college education, because before then it was absolutely free when it was white students only going to those colleges and things like that. So this statement is an oxymoron. And let's not forget that the education system has always been an arm of the white supremacist system. That's why they only wanted slaves educated in a certain way, if at all. That's nothing new. It's nothing new at all. In this article, The Future of College Admissions Without Affirmative Action, it states, in states that have eliminated affirmative action, studies have consistently found decline in the admission and enrollment of Black, Latinx, and Indigenous people. These declines are especially concentrated in selective and flagship institutions. The passage of California's Proposition 209 in 1996 resulted in a 12% decline in underrepresented groups across the whole University of California system. UC Berkeley and UCLA experienced the biggest effects, with a 60% drop in Black, Latinx, and Indigenous students. In 2006, after Michigan passed Proposition 2, which banned race-conscious admission, black undergraduate enrollment at the University of Michigan dropped nearly by half, from 7% in 2006 to 4% in 2021. In the first class admitted to the University of Washington after the state banned the use of race in admissions, Black, Latinx, and Native American enrollment made up 7% of the entering class, compared with 8.2% the year before the ban. So I read all that to say this. These people are fully aware of the negative impact that removing the affirmative action program from universities will have. They don't care. They do not care. They don't care. What the message is we don't want you there. And if we don't want you there, we're not going to force anyone else to want you there. We're not going to force anyone else to want you there. So all those schools that just don't like niggers, you don't have to accept them no more. There's nothing forcing you to accept those niggers. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. And for the Democrats, so immediately the answer should always be no. Always be no when getting asked questions like this.
Do you see this where services can sort of be what is reparations? So maybe it is free college, maybe it's discounted college, maybe it is tax breaks, however you want to describe it. Is that an acceptable form in your opinion?
I'll answer that for this bed-bucking brother. The answer to that is no, hell no, and no some more. You give us what's owed to us. We want the same thing that the Top Hat community got. We want the same thing that the Japanese got. We want the same thing that the ex-slave owners got. Cash. Cut the check. And we'll take care of the rest. Cut the check. Not everybody wants to go to school, especially when they're passing laws against us left and right. When they're passing laws to say we ain't got to even worry about the 14th Amendment when it comes to college education and things like that. Why should we even be paying attention to free college? Nah, you just pay what you owe and we'll take care of the rest. But other folks will try to make it seem like this ain't the most predominant issue at hand. They're going to come to you and say, we need to get those people, those Republicans out of those seats. If it's the last thing we do, so you and you don't forget to vote blue, no matter who. We got to get them out of that Supreme Court. Look what they did. They overturned Roe v. Wade. They overturned affirmative action. This will be their cry and their song to you. And I'm going to be honest with you. It's already started. It's already started. Let's hit this last article. California Slavery Reparations Task Force sends final report to uncertain fate in legislator. Notice how they try to make it seem all scary, terrifying. There's an uncertain fate. Let's see what it says. A California task force Thursday presented its first-in-the-nation attempt to address the legacy of slavery to lawmakers who must decide whether to pursue a wide range of proposed remedies, including payments to the descendants of enslaved people. The recommendations of the Reparations Task Force, the product of months of research and public hearings, face an uncertain fate even in a legislation with a Democratic supermajority and a governor supportive of the commission's work. State Senator Steve Bradford, a member of the task force, has repeatedly said he expected a lengthy and difficult struggle to enact recommendations, especially payments. The final report is not the end of the work. It's really just the beginning, Bradford said. Governor Gavin Newsom has avoided publicly commenting to specific recommendations, a position he maintained as the final report was presented to the legislator. Now, here is where the kicker comes off. Like I said, they're going to be using this all throughout election season. Check it out. I am very mindful of our past, Newsom told reporters, as he shifted the focus to the Supreme Court's decision striking down the use of affirmative action in higher education. We have a Supreme Court that wants to take us back to pre-1960s world, he said. This reparations report and the context of that decision today only reinforces the seriousness of purpose with which we'll review it. Boy, he didn't even wait until that ruling cooled off, did he? He invoked that ruling so quick it'll make your head spin. But this is my point. You're going to get a lot of these Democrats coming out trying to get you back on the plantation. Because Black Americans have made reparations the forefront agenda issue. And if people ain't coming to us with policy, tangibles, or anything to do with reparations, we're turning them away. And you're seeing more and more people trying to decide what should reparations be. It should be this, it should be that. Because they're getting close to the point where they have to give it to us. We're forcing that point. So now they're trying to decide what it should be. But when anybody come to you, or when you hear anybody talking about reparations should be this, reparations should be that, if it don't come along with a check and a transformative agenda for the Black community, then it's a no for me, dog. It's a no for me. And it should be a no for you too. No matter what they use, when they bring up Roe v. Wade, when they bring up the affirmative action situation, nothing matters over our reparations because we can take care of a lot of situations with those reparations. And you're going to hear a lot of these Democrats saying that we're being selfish because we're standing on our interest. Don't feel bad. Everyone else gets to be selfish. It's our turn to not just be selfish, but stand on our square and feel good about being selfish and make sure that we know and they know that we ain't going nowhere until we get what's owed to us. You can throw out a goddamn civil war in this piece and it wouldn't matter to us. Y'all fight your own battles until you pay us. There is no Black inclusion. There is no Black activity. There is nothing that you can give us that we want besides our reparations. I don't care about your little housing programs. I don't care about your little deeds and your little land programs or anything like that when you don't have the mule to go along with it. The cash is the reparations and everything else is policy to help your reparations move forward. And with that being said, if you're new to the channel, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Hit the like button, hit the bell button. Make sure you share this, get this out, because you're going to get a lot of people talking about this is why we need to get those Democrats into the Supreme Court. We got to start voting more Democrat. We've been voting Democrat for over 60 years, and look where we're at today. With that being said, the doors of the church are closed. Peace.